Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. Today we're featuring a Tier 7 ranked battle, although there are a couple of Tier 6s present. Domination mode here on the ring map. And let's just get this out of the way right at the start. This is the Asia server. And this, in the German Tier 7 battleship, the Scharnhorst, is Battleship 888. I do like me a bit of old shiny horse. I really do think this is an Actually, you know what, before we talk about the ship, let's just go back to that whole this is the Asia server thing. Because I think it's safe to say the Asia server, or rather the player base on the Asia server, does not enjoy a particularly good reputation. And when I say that, I don't mean, you know, they're all horrible and toxic and bad people and all that. I'm not suggesting that. I don't think anybody's suggesting that. There's absolutely no evidence that that's the case. It's just that they're not very good. I mean, yeah. Now, I mean, I don't have any first-hand experience of that because I don't play on the Asia server, but there's plenty of you watching these videos who do, and this may just be confirmation bias at work, I don't know. And yet every time this subject gets brought up in any of my World of Warships videos, the comment section immediately gets flooded by people who do play on the Asia server saying, nope, you're not wrong, you're not exaggerating, it really is as bad as that. But how do they know the difference? I mean, if all you do is play on the Asia server, how do you know how bad it is compared to I mean, you see videos on YouTube, but the videos that you see on YouTube are all cherry-picked, you know, the best battles and so on and so on, best or worst battles. Very little middle-of-the-road stuff. People don't often put average gameplay up on YouTube. It's usually either the hilariously bad stuff or the mind-bogglingly awesome stuff. And yet there are people who normally play on other servers, but who, through their jobs, end up working and playing on the Asia server. And they also confirm that, yep, it 100% absolutely is just exactly as bad as everybody says. And we're going to see some prime examples of it in today's video. There's Battleship 888. Oh look, there's a Scharnhorst 43 on the team to go with the Scharnhorst that he's sailing. As Battleship 888 begins engaging the enemies. Initially spotted by the Furicchio over there, who has activated his high-speed smoke. I have no idea why the Fubuki is also activating his smoke. He's tucked in behind an island. He doesn't have clear line of sight on anything. Nothing has spotted him, but, well, I don't know. I guess he just wants to feel included, like he's part of the team. Oh, there's the enemy Canarias. How do you even pronounce that, by the way? Because I'm never sure. I mean, it's Spanish, so your guess is as good as mine. Is it Canarias? Is it Canarias? Is it Canarias? I have absolutely no idea. Anyway, shots out, and he's actually managed to miss, which is surprising as he opens up on the enemy Prince Heinrich, because the Scharnhorst is actually kind of accurate. Certainly by, I mean, you know, it's no cruiser. You could argue it is a battle cruiser, but that's a whole other can of worms. But because of the guns, you see, this wasn't a ship that was ever designed to actually go toe-to-toe with and contest the high seas against the battleships of the Royal Navy. It was designed as a communist raider. It was designed to get out into the Atlantic, catch the convoys, savage the cruiser and destroyer escorts, if they even had any cruiser escorts, ruin the convoy, and then get out of there before any battleships could turn up. So to that end, she's fast, she's armoured sufficiently to basically shrug off destroyer and cruiser fire, and she's way faster than any contemporary battleships that existed at the time, at least. Faster than any that she was likely to face, i.e. Royal Navy battleships. That does of course mean that the Scharnhorst did not need dirty great big hoofing, ooh, those will be torpedoes from the Prince Heinrich, but it's okay, he's dodged them. This does mean that the Scharnhorst did not need dirty great big hoofing 14, 15 or 16 inch guns. She is in fact armed with 11 inch guns, 283mm. More than good enough to outgun any cruiser or destroyer convoy escort she was ever likely to face. The thing is, here in World of Warships, the Scharnhorst does go up against other battleships that are armed with 14, 15 and 16 inch guns, and so to compensate, the Scharnhorst guns are, certainly by battleship standards, remarkably accurate, and they have a blisteringly quick reload. Only 20 seconds. She also has torpedoes, as we've already seen, and remarkably spicy secondaries. Speaking of German battleships armed with torpedoes, Oh dear, Prince Heinrich. He just beached himself broadside on in a narrow channel, presumably to get the torpedoes away from the other side. And that is going to be the end of him. Yep, there it is. Torpedoed by the Fubuki that the Ferruccio has been giving shit to in chat the entire game. Although the Ferruccio himself has just been sunk by the enemy Poltava, so hopefully that means he will now shut the hell up. And we won't have to listen to him whining for the rest of the battle. That's another indication, by the way, that you are on the Asia server. The friendly Scharnhorst is ducking in behind the island there because he took a beating. He's going to try to heal up. And oh, there's the Chumphon. Killing cruisers is basically exactly what this ship was for. So, shots out. And he's not going to have to do a lot of damage. Yeah, he's got him. Finished him with a Citadel. So, Battleship 888's first kill. And both teams are holding steady at 2 kills. The reason I was saying that this is another indication that you're on the Asia server, there's very, very little actual chat going on in chat. And that's because it's the Asia server. There's so many different languages spoken on this server. And you could say that that's true of the EU server as well, and you'd be absolutely right. But on the EU server, everybody tends to have English as a sort of second language. So there's this common sort of second language spoken on the EU server that they just don't have on the Asia server. So they tend to just spam the chat commands. But you can only spam the chat commands if your ship hasn't yet been sunk. So hopefully that means the Ferruccio will be quiet from here on in. Wow, the West Virginia just took a massive hit there. Well, the Sinop has been calling for fire against him. I don't know if that was the Sinop himself or somebody else on the team who's paying attention. And looking at the position, it probably was the Sinop. Unfortunately, also looking at the position, that Sinop has seriously overextended. He's now got himself basically caught in a crossfire between the Poltava on the one side and the West Virginia on the other. He's not going to get any help from the Scharnhorst 43. He's waiting for his repair party to come off cooldown. The Montcalm looks like he's trying to tuck himself in behind an island and avoid getting shot at by the Poltava, which means it's basically just Battleship 888. Day late and a dollar short, unfortunately. The Sinop has gone down, taken out by the West Virginia, which means Battleship 888 is probably going to be next. You know what they say? No good deed goes unpunished. Came to the assistance of a teammate. Now he's got the West Virginia's 16-inch guns looking right at him. Tier 6 and 7 battleships only have 26mm of bow and stern plating, which means they can be overmatched and therefore citadeled from the front by 15-inch armour piercing or higher. And the West Virginia's armour piercing is definitely higher, so right now his best chance is to either get in behind the island with the Scharnhorst 43 before the West Virginia reloads, or, failing that, angle away and take it on the belt, and oh, West Virginia isn't shooting at him. It's weird. Oh, he's shooting at the Montcalm. Oh, well, I guess he thought, yeah, Battleship 888 was going to be angled before he reloaded, and if you can citadel a battleship from the front, he can definitely citadel the cruiser, and it looks like he is. The torpedoes have missed. The West Virginia is still in the fight as the Scharnhorst 43 comes out. He's popped his heel, he's gotten some health back, and the Fubuki is absolutely no threat whatsoever to anybody over there. Oh, crap. The West Virginia, who looked like he was about to and probably should have died a couple of minutes ago after taking a colossal hit, has just nuked both the Scharnhorst 43 and the Montcalm within less than a second of each other. Secondaries took out the Montcalm, main gun batteries took out the Scharnhorst. That's a double strike for the West Virginia, which means Battleship 888 is now the last surviving member of his team against 4 enemies. 1 destroyer, 1 cruiser, and 2 battleships. I mean, the West Virginia is kind of on its last legs, although it has managed to get a heel off, but it is still armed with 16-inch guns, and Battleship 888 is not, which is why he's aiming above the weather deck line, trying to knock the guns out and attempt to, the Fubuki torpedoes. Like I said, the Fubuki Asia server. We'll just leave it at that. These 11-inch guns are not going to finish off the West Virginia before he gets to fire again. The torpedoes will, though. West Virginia down. West Virginia did extremely well. I mean, 3 kills. There's only 6 players per team. So, you know, he definitely has absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Little tactical beaching there from Battleship 888. Yeah, no. He wasn't... I mean, he wasn't deliberately beaching in order to avoid any further torpedoes. That's the angle he needed to take to get the torpedoes away. Let's not try to make more of it than what it is. It's possible the West Virginia was trying to go for a ram at the last second there, because that would have won the match, but then he saw the torpedoes and he kind of sort of couldn't make his mind up. But a slow ship like the West Virginia trying to pull off a ram against a fast ship like a Scharnhorst would have been tricky at best. Either way, the West Virginia certainly did nothing to be ashamed of. The Fubuki, however... Why would you even do that? Where were your torpedoes? Oh, they were on reload, weren't they? Because you just launched them and missed. Yeah. Asia server. Oh, there's the Poltava. But have you noticed what the enemy team are doing here? They're all fighting him one at a time. They've got a 4-to-1 numerical superiority, and they are deliberately reducing this entire battle down to a series of one-on-one fights. The Poltava is slowly reversing away, and he's not 100% completely broadside on, he is a little angled, but these are extremely high velocity 11-inch armour piercing shells, and from that kind of range, they're going to punch through. In fact, he was really lucky not to be citadeled. He started moving forward now. I think he's just realised, oops, torpedoes. And to be completely fair, I mean, Battleship 888 does make this a little bit harder than it needs to be, but I mean, the Poltava doesn't completely screw it up. Takes more gun hits there, loses a gun turret, torpedoes away, but the Poltava is aware that the torpedoes are coming. And it's here where 888 makes his first serious error, and I don't just mean the torpedoes missing. He's turning the wrong way. I see people doing this all the time, and most of the time it gets them killed. He should be turning away. To be fair, the Poltava was doing it too, which is why he just took 36,000 damage. When you're circling an enemy like this, turn away from them, because by circling them and continuing to turn in, all you're doing is continuing to show them a broadside to shoot at. Unless you know your guns are going to reload before theirs do, and you are going to kill them before they kill you. Because if not, you're basically just playing reload chicken, and whoever reloads first is going to win. It's such a common mistake to make, and it's very easy to do because you're locked into that close range dogfight. You're thinking, I've got to keep all of the guns on target. But if you stop and think about it for a moment, every time you see one of those battleships or cruisers swinging its arse out to get all of its guns firing and exposing broadside to you, and that's exactly what you're waiting for as you unload and blast it out of the water from full health to nothing because it turned to give you broadside in order to get all of its guns firing, that's exactly what you're doing. But anyway, extremely lucky to survive, though Battleship 888 definitely was, although luckier than the Poltava, and, well, sometimes that's all you need. He is still alive, he's managed to get a heal off, and he is capping the central cap, and he was just spotted, which means somewhere out there, although no longer immediately in line of sight, is the last surviving ship on the enemy team, the Canarias. Or however the hell I knew that was going to come back and bite me in the arse. I didn't know how to pronounce the name of that ship. At the beginning of the video, it could have done the honourable thing and got itself sunk in the meantime, but no. He's still alive. He's still making me look like an uneducated idiot, and for some bizarre reason, he's still not shooting at Battleship 888, who has now had the opportunity to get a second heal off, and is shortly going to be back up to, well, at least 20,000 hit points. And he's spotted again. Oh, there he is. And he's gone. Although he can still see Battleship 888, even though Battleship 888 cannot see him. You know, battleship, cruiser, different detection ranges, obviously. But he's just watching. He's just watched him take the central cap at Bravo and eliminate his team's only advantage. Well, they do still have a points lead, but with Battleship 888 now taking the cap at Charlie as well, that points lead is going away real fast. If you have not guessed already, however, exactly what the problem is with that last surviving enemy ship, whose name I've given up trying to pronounce, we have actually had a couple of clues to explain why he is not shooting at anybody. And it's not because he doesn't want to get shot back at. To explain, I'm going to have to focus on the minimap and rewind the battle to almost the 13-minute mark. Right after the West Virginia had taken out the Sinop, if you can remember that far back. There he is. The Canarias just went unspotted. So now we fast forward to roughly the 6-minute mark, and look at how far he's travelled in the 7 minutes since he was last spotted. It's taken him 7 minutes to travel roughly 3 ship lengths, and he's remained unspotted that entire time. He's AFK, isn't he? Or maybe he isn't. I mean, it's entirely possible that he's just really, really shockingly bad, even by the abysmally low standards of the Asia server. I mean, you have to remember that when we talk about averages and the average level of gameplay, I mean, picture the average player. Yeah, I know, it's not a pretty sight. And then remember that 50% are worse than that. It's certainly possible that he's just worse than average, even on the Asia server. I mean, somebody has to be. But no, he's AFK. So Battleship 888 farms himself some more XP and credits by taking the final cap circle, respots the final enemy cruiser, who is given a perfect flat broadside to shoot at, lines up all 3 turrets and all 9 guns, is immediately reminded that if you don't have a sense of humour, you shouldn't be playing World of Warships, as he is rewarded with nothing but 5 over-penetrations. Goes for a torpedo lock to check that he is in fact definitely AFK and not moving. Guns reload, opens up again, and of course this time he gets a citadel. And of course it's not enough. But the secondaries are in range now. Is he actually going to... Yeah, I think he is. I think he is going to wait. He's going to hold his fire. Let's see. Yep, he could kill him right now, but he's waiting to get another close quarters expert award and finish him with his secondaries. And why the hell not? Then the game shits all over him yet again. I mean, he gets the Kraken Unleashed. That's 5 kills, by the way, in a game mode where there are only 6 enemies. But the game refuses to give him a close quarters expert award, even though he's absolutely earned it, because the very last, it looked like, secondary that hit the enemy ship shattered, didn't do any damage, but did set a fire, and it's the fire that sank him. But hey, it's a solo warrior, it's a Kraken Unleashed, and it's a high caliber. And I'll leave you with even more proof that we are definitely playing on the Asia server. That cruiser, who basically sailed around a bit, possibly shot at things, didn't really do an awful lot, and then went AFK and died, actually performed nearly 6 times better than the enemy Fubuki, who didn't. And on that horrifying bombshell, remember, look at how bad the average player is, and then remember that half of them are even worse than that. Welcome to the Asia server. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.